And we are here. We back again. If I rule the world, imagine that. All right, y'all. We back. I love 'em, baby. Black diamonds and pearls. Hey, check it out. So basically, we're gonna get into this generational wealth. A lot of people talk generational wealth, but are you really about generational wealth? Um, there's some key things. For one, everybody that knows, I always talk about Alonzo Hall with generational wealth. And having that generational wealth is you seeking the knowledge. That's one of the biggest things that a lot of people kind of forget with this generational wealth, seeking the knowledge. And the knowledge is for you to obtain when you obtain it. You know, I mean, it's going out here studying people who talk about this. That means going out here, you doing your research for yourself. That means you taking the initial time, set aside time, dates, and everything. If you want generational wealth, you got to look for it. You got to go find it. You know, I always say this: when it comes to family, there's always a generation reset every single time, due to the fact that when you get money, you're not saving money for the next generation. What you're doing is you're trying to live. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. You know, that's why I try to talk about life insurance for people to get life insurance. Get life insurance. Make sure that life insurance is set up to where you can gain money long term. You know, and the long term, honestly, people have to do their homework. They have death insurance and they have life insurance. Death insurance is when you die, you pay for your tomb, you pay for your plot, you pay for your repast, you pay for everything out from your death insurance. Now, there's life insurance. Life insurance, you do that as well, but you can use the money while you're living. That's why it's called life insurance. You know, a lot of people got to know the terms, the lingo, and how to use it. You know, talk to a financial advisor about that. They can help you more out about that. And I always tell people, I don't have to tell you I'm not a financial advisor. I'm telling you, I'm giving you bare bones information for you to go do some homework, do some research, and stop being lazy. Stop trying to blame everybody. Stop trying to sue everybody for the mistakes you made because you didn't take the time and fact check. That's the same thing I always talk about with the Bible. People will go to church, listen to the pastor, but don't research themselves. That's why most people give so much of their money unto Caesar, but that is not Caesar. You know, when it comes down to it, you got to have some level of understanding. You know, and so basically, I'm gonna try to run over some key things for you to actually be good with your finances. So when you get ready to do your finances, you know, you're going to be at a certain point in life to where you're going to be, somewhat level headed and can, basically put yourself in a, position to win. Shout out underrated. What's going on? How you doing, underrated? So first rule of thumb is debt. A lot of people, we talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about getting things squared away. The main thing we don't focus on, the main thing we don't try to get done properly is our debt. How many of us have debt and we don't properly take care of our debt? So if you don't properly take care of your debt, guess what? That debt is going to come back and haunt you. So for a lot of us, we have to take care of our debt. We have to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So one of the things I learned, one of the guys that I talked to, and I talked to him, he was creating generational wealth for his family. And let's be honest, don't get it twisted. Just because you make a lot of money, that doesn't mean you have generational wealth. That doesn't mean you're creating generational wealth. You take a lot of money, you take care of your kids, have a trust, preferably not a will, but if you have a will, go through probate. But the thing is, with that trust, you can set that trust to a standard to where your family can be left a certain amount of money, and you put stipulations in there for the family to obtain the money and be able to use the money for certain things for benefit. That's one of the things with me. I've told my wife and I've told certain people on the channels that I'm looking towards me getting a duplex, you know. And with me getting a duplex, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to when I have my wife set up some things, upon my passing. But if I don't pass, guess what? I can still go into life insurance, pull money out, and obtain that apartment while I'm alive. So that's the whole spiel. But let me take it back a little bit so we can get some understanding going on. You know, when I was young, my dad, he put some things in play and set me up to, live a comfortable life as a kid and going into adulthood. I wanted to provide the same thing for my kids. I didn't go to the military, so my thing was, what could I do? My great grandmother always telling, every older adult in the family, even kids, as kids, we had the Gerber plans, you know. So we had insurance up until the ages of 18, and we cashed them out for, it were terms, so there wasn't that much money on those. But for the most part, for people that want to create generational wealth, you're not going to get it by just working a job and saving a lot of money and putting it in an account. It's through your investments, life insurance, real estate are the top two in my opinion. But people have their others. They have stocks, they have bonds. There's other things you can gain money off and get access. But the main thing for me is looking at these investments into real estate, which on average give you anywhere from a 15 to 30% increase, and then going into life insurance, depending on how much money you want to put aside each month, or quarterly or yearly, depending on how much money you want to leave towards your family, how much money you want to have access to you in your older years. It's all pending up to you. So mainly, a lot of people have to get their lives to a point and understand what they really want out of, far as your finance. Another good thing is teaching your teaching the youth, you know, say the least. I always talk about me telling my kids about certain things about finance. That's the only way that the generational wealth can be passed on to the next generation. You know, that was the same thing my great grandmother always talked about. Having life insurance not being a burden. If you're able to pay for your own burial, you'll have money somewhat left over. If not, just so be it. But the point of it is, having money left over from your life insurance can go towards a family member. You know, if you don't have a trust, you can always have that money assigned to the person, the beneficiary, the person that's going to be over your life insurance, and they can keep that money that's left over, or do they can give you the cheapest funeral there is. I mean, even pushing with me, I've already said that I'd rather get cremated. You know, it's cheaper, inexpensive, and I'm dead. What am I gonna do? Have a nice casket in the ground, or have this big thing to where everybody come look at me, my body? I'm gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So basically, I'm not worrying about how I'm looking because I'm already gone. So teaching your kids generational wealth by giving them the information, telling them about life insurance, tell them about housing. I'm actually doing a project right now. I think I'm gonna bring my kids out to see this project because it's local now. The one I worked on previously, they went and worked on that with me, and I'm going to have them work on this one locally so they can see the progression of this building as it's being done. Okay, we're going to go to the next one, and the next pretty much of all the creating generational wealth, organizing your finance. This is one of the key things that a lot of people neglect. I'm always into different budgeting channels. Wanda Budgeting and Beyond, great channel. I always forget about Nettie. I forgot about is Nettie Savings and Challenges, I believe. And there's a couple of channels I do watch. I'm bad on names. I gotta keep watching, and catch the names. Um, there's another channel I used to watch with a lady, Save With Me, I believe that was her channel. Haven't seen her in a minute. But overall, having the knowledge of saving, having the knowledge of budgeting, that creates generational wealth. You know, um, I'm going to start my kids with having them a notebook to where when they start getting money, writing things down, especially with their allowances. If they want to buy something, write it down in the book. We're going to set a goal on when those goals need to be accomplished, on getting that stuff, to make matters smooth, that have an understanding that I'm working towards a goal. That's a big key thing. A lot of kids neglect on that because, their parents don't put them and show them like these are the things that you need for financial, just not even with generational wealth. You know, how many kids know how to budget? How many kids know how to actually pay a bill? Stay with my grandmother. She ended up going into a hospital one time and she left her purse. I actually went in her purse because I knew the bills were due, and I paid all the bills with her card. She couldn't understand that how could I pay the bills without mailing them in? I said, Grandma, this is the 2000s. Like, you could just take a card, pay the bill online. She didn't know how secure that was and was kind of scared of. Now, people don't like technology and don't like to move in with the times, but the point of it is the bills got paid, everything was done right. And, another thing is to help you with generational wealth, maintaining family healthy relationships. A lot of us have a lot of difficulty with family. A lot of us don't like to be out here dealing with our family members. A lot of us don't like to, you know, just in general. Shout out to Jackson Street in the building. Shout out to Mahogany. And shout out to Underrated. I said earlier, how you doing there? But basically, when it comes down to it, a lot of us don't like to deal with family. You know, one of your biggest supporters or biggest assets that can help you further your career is the support from your family. With me having a wife, personally, in my opinion, there's a lot of things that I could have done, but at a slower pace. But with me having a wife there and supportive, it helped me to obtain these things faster. When I started my first company, I just went out on a leap. I had a little money saved, and majority of the other money started going into the company to get it up and running. Me and a friend went in partnership with a company. If it wasn't for my wife having that supportive nature, say, well, go ahead and give it a shot. It's up to you. This is your dream. You want to own your own company. This is what you want to do. You like to drive already. Let's go ahead. Let's go. You know, and that's how we got the ballroom. Even to the point of situations with the kids and everything, support there. I want the kids to do certain things. I want the kids to learn certain things. She was basically there for me. So outside of family, great things too. I decided to want to marry my wife and get some things done. I had the support of my family, cousins, grandmother, they were supportive on me getting married, telling me to stick to a budget, on how do I want to marry, just give me advice. That's one of the key things, in far as building your generational wealth. You got to have a strong team with you, and I always refer to marriage as a corporation. You got to look at that as well with creating generational wealth. You're you're doing a merger with companies. So with generational wealth, you got to have it set up to the point where you're setting it up to where everybody within this whole circle or whatever that you have, they can benefit off of this. My kids benefit off my life insurance. My kids are going to benefit everything down the line. So when I talk to my kids, I tell them, when you're doing something wrong I don't approve of, it's going to shorten your amount from the generational wealth as far as my life insurance, properties that I have up under. I did a crowd fund. So technically speaking, you know, I'm part owner in some properties right now. I deal with some stock. Um, Same thing with that. Part owner in the some stocks we grouped together, put our money together, bought a couple of stocks. I'm invested in that as well. My thing is, and going back to I always say this, me and a guy we talked once before, and he basically was saying all I talk about is money, money, money. Money is the root of all evil. And I tell him, money is not the root of all evil. It's what you do with the money that makes it the root of all evil. So with that being said, I'm trying to create generational wealth by putting my family in position, by giving them the tools, the keys that they need to have an understanding that say, well, if I obtain this and I do this properly, these things will go in the line. I first talked about your debt, keeping your debt at a minimum. Stop paying for overdrafts, stop paying late fees, anything that requires you to pay more money when you don't have to. Eliminate debt, pay down your credit cards. I was going to do a video about my credit. I don't know, I still might do it. I have a couple of screenshots and things I wanted to report on. That might still be in the making. Okay. And with two, after we talked about credit, we got into some other situations. We talked about life insurance, talked about getting life insurance, planning for life insurance, talked about also organizing your finance. A lot of people do not organize their finances well. A lot of people do not pay their bills on time. A lot of people don't have everything calendared out so you know what day these bills are due and you can pay in advance. Did you know by paying two payments on your credit card will increase your credit score? Two payments. If you get your credit cards at 30%, that's good. But by paying two extra payments per month, it'll increase your credit score. And we talked about having a trust. A lot of people look at trust as something good, but just don't know what to do, don't know what to put in it. Consult an advisor. I always tell people Alonzo Hall is giving you free advice before you even actually take the leap. When it comes to life insurance, he's already telling you all the tools that he possesses within his realm that he can help you with. So why not take advantage of the free videos that he's giving you? So when it's time for you to take the leap, buy your life insurance, you're dealing with him directly. You already know what he's talking about. You already know his background. You already critiquing him on everything pretty much as is right now. So you are already going to have an understanding of when you come to the table, what he's going to help you with, what he's going to work with you with, and that's the big picture. Now, another thing that we talked about was budgeting for retirement. A lot of people budgeting for retirement. This is the key thing. For generational wealth, you don't want to tap into all the money that you have in your life insurance and saving for the next generation to create generational wealth. So that's the key thing. You want to be able to take this money that you're putting over far as to leave for your kids You need to be taking that money, putting it to the side, and have another set or for generational wealth. Maybe, I mean, for your retirement. Maybe if you have to get another life from that, be that as it may, that's what you're going to have to do. I always talk about investments. I don't prefer dealing with 401ks, but at the same time, you do what's right for you. 401ks, IRAs, personally, from my opinion, I say deal with index universal life insurance. That's just my opinion. That's what I like. That's what I've done my research on. When you have those, this is the understanding. Index universal life insurance, if I put money into the S&P 500 with my life insurance each month, which gains with me 7%. Most people it varies 5 and so forth. Now it's going up to 9%. I'm thinking about getting some life insurance now, too again. But at the same time, just letting people know the difference is when you put your money in your life insurance, a universal preferably, and doing the S&P 500. If the stock market tanks, you don't lose. Your money remains the same. But if the stock market grows, you benefit more off of it. So that's the key thing for people doing your research, looking up universal life insurance, IUL. A lot of people need to sit here. I keep referring to this. I keep talking about this every single time. You're gonna get old, and when you get old, you're gonna have some things that you need to know. I don't want to be 60 years, 50 years old saying I'm just not getting my life together. So focus on those things. Have an understanding what you want to do, how you want to do, obtain goals. See, that's one of the biggest problems that we have, within our community is lack of knowledge. And the lack of knowledge is because what? No one is taking the time, doing the research, figuring out what is their best options and how to do things. So if you're not figuring that out, guess what you're doing? You're having a situation to where you're losing out because, with that being said, not having that knowledge, you're stuck. You know, that's like having a video game, and the only way to beat a board is you got to have a rope to swing across the bridge. If you don't have the rope to swing across the bridge, you can't finish the game. That's what you're doing when you don't have the knowledge to go forth to the next level with everything. So this is the key, you know. And I'm gonna go by this one more time to let people know. Make sure your debt, eliminate debt, pay down your credit cards as fast as possible, much as possible. It's up to you. The biggest thing about finishing the race is just finishing. If it takes you 5 years to eliminate credit, eliminate all your debt. If it takes you 2 months, with a good little bit of budgeting, which I talked about as well, budgeting, you can eliminate your debt. Eliminate your debt by budgeting. A lot of people don't know how to do their finances properly, and that's why, they're in situations now. If you know how to do your finance properly, you will save money. You'll ultimately invest in things that you need to invest in for the greater good and so forth. Another thing that I talked about, life insurance. Getting life insurance, knowing what life insurance is best for you. That's the key. A lot of people don't understand. You might get life insurance, and certain life insurance is not just as good for, it might be good for you, but it might not be good for the next person, you know. So research, have an understanding, preferably, like I always say, shout out to Alonzo Hall, the All Star Advisor. Check his channel and go forth and do some understanding and researches on how and what kind of insurance you need. You know, a lot of people don't understand it. Another key thing that I focus on, family, having that network of family. You got to understand, teaching your kids, oh, I got to get in that too, but teaching everybody and working with everybody that you have in that circle, that's the generational wealth, and it keeps going. And I'm gonna kick with this kids, and I'm gonna go to this kids. You got to give your kids the knowledge. Just like I learned about life insurance when I was a little kid growing up, and when I got 18, they told me now you're responsible for your own life insurance. You need to go seek some life insurance, have an understanding what it is, talk to somebody. If you need help, we'll teach you. But the whole point of you is you have to go out here and learn this because you're finna be an adult. You're gonna have responsibilities and life insurance. My kids now they think they're gonna be rich with life insurance. I told them life insurance is not gonna make you rich. It's gonna make you maintain life. The life insurance, what you do with it, can make you rich. And that's why I keep harping on this. Just because you have a job, have certain things that can benefit you, that's not generational wealth. Just because you have a job that pays a lot of money, doing something with that money long term is creating that generational wealth. Investing in properties, to the point where you have tenants paying for the property and not you. Investing into stock, investing in the bonds, certain things that can grow. Don't be at the point of you trying to do the high risk. A lot of people like this whole thing with crypto. Crypto is hot right now. A lot of people investing in crypto. Crypto is a good market. But the point of it is, let's go with the easier risk. A lot of people look into ETFs, spiders. They have sites that you can use. You can use Webull. You can use um Stockpile. You can use Robinhood. Any one of these sites, look up. You could, I think, with Stockpile, I believe you can buy fractional shares just like with Robinhood. The point of it is, you don't get rich just buying the whole stock at one time like that. You can buy it if you have the money, but let's say you don't have the money, buy a portion of it. When Tesla was going for $1,000, I know people that put $200 into Tesla. When Tesla went up, their money went up. It was a portion of the money, but still, a little goes a long way. A lot of people want to sit here and try to run the race quickly and swiftly, and you want to dump your money and everything, and not doing no research. That's how you lose your money. Everybody was on AMC, the hot wave. Everybody was on GameStop. And when GameStop froze a lot of these accounts in AMC because they didn't have the money to pay these people, they lost money. And if people never heard of a pump and dump, go look at Wolf of Wall Street. Pump and dump is where the higher elites will pump a stock up, inflate it just like a balloon, and when everybody comes in, follows behind, they pop that balloon when they dump it. Everybody's left with nothing but air. They pull all their money out. The stock is tanking. You're losing at a dramatic rate. I mean, these people have financial advisors. These people have people on the stock exchange with brokers. They can snatch their money out in a moment's notice. You know how long it's going to take you to do that on a device under Robinhood or something? Robinhood froze the account because they can't pay that money out. They wouldn't be able to do it fast enough. So, like I said, do your research. Know in what you're dealing with when you do these things. Creating generational wealth, like I said, is just not finance of you having a lot of money. Creating generational wealth is having tools and keys in place for you to have those assets go to the next generation. Look at the Rothschilds. Look at the Vanderbilts. The Vanderbilts in the 1700s was the biggest family. The Vanderbilts, like a massive amount of money. You know, Compared to the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts had enormous back amounts of money. But over time, the Vanderbilts did what? Spent money. They were known for gambling. They were known for just high end parties. They had one party for $200,000. In this day and time, a $200,000 party then was big in the 17 and the 1800s. But nowadays, that $200,000 party is worth $6 million. Spending $6 million on one party, and majority of the time, they would do multiple parties. So they lost money just on not being able to know what to do. You got to understand. when it comes down to it, a lot of people really don't have the knowledge. So they're just spending the money uneducated, not knowing what the future holds. They're not saving for the next generation. They're not putting stuff away so each generation can have a portion. You can do that within a trust. Limited the amount of money per generation that's coming out so the money can keep rolling. So one day, hopefully, it'll increase more. And I'm going to end with this. The best way for a lot of people to increase their finances is get life insurance, put it in a trust, and limit the trust payout to a certain amount of people and creating that generational wealth that way. So if you die, your money goes into the trust. You know, you have 7 kids, each kid passes, and that's 50,000. The next generation, each kid passes, that's 100,000. That's how generational wealth starts. Believe it or not, I'm gonna end with this. There was a guy that worked at a chicken farm. The guy worked at a chicken farm, career worker. This guy was there for probably 30 years and ended up dying on a chicken farm. He worked for a warehouse, but he raised chickens. Ultimately, when he passed, he literally left his wife $2 million and his 2 kids. They owned a mobile home that they were paying probably like 250, $300 a month. Had the land from the family, so they had cars kind of beat up and stuff, but they never really wanted for nothing. $2 million to people that live simple, it can change their life dramatically, or it could actually hurt. And I'm in with this. Go check out Curse of the Lottery and go check out how lottery changed my life. If you Google those or you look up on YouTube, they have those shows, and I'm believing it's on AME or AMC, whatever. But the point of it is, look at those two, and they will show you that people who come into money don't know what to do with it. They lose it pretty fast, or the people that come into money and they're responsible, they get things handled and they get things done right. So with that being said, shout out to everybody that came through. Once again, be responsible. I know everybody can't become millionaires. I know everybody can't create that big generational wealth, but you can do something for the next generation. If you're married, you have family and kids. If you're single, you still what? Have family and kids. Leave it for your nieces and nephews, a cousin or somebody that you like, you always depend on, that looked out for you. Believe it or not, my cousin, his wife, she always watching out for her aunt. Her aunt never married, never had kids. So between my cousin's wife and another family member, the aunt is splitting the money with them two, and everybody else in the family is mad, and now they want to help and do things for her. But she's like, these two been here since day one. So if anything ever happened to me, I always have to look out for them. Even though the family members say, "Well, we'll never do that," she didn't. It didn't matter because she knew she had two people that cared enough about her that'll watch out and do stuff for her. But with that being said, shout out to everybody that's coming through, creating your generational wealth. Go do your research. And with that being said, like I always say, we here and we gone.